Hi all, today we will discuss about what all are the project round interview questions. So what things they will ask for the interviewer in the project round. So this that will be based on your technical and your project related. So suppose if you are working on any project or any module in your particular client, so that what type of module you work and what is the project related for which domain and how is internally working. So they will ask either high level design or maybe some low level design, and can you give me some project functionality, what type of project is there and how you are implementing, what are the technology stack you used in this project. So that we will discuss, and based on that they will also ask some of your interview questions based on the technicals in this project only. Suppose if you are telling anything, so suppose this is the given examples where the first question they ask tell me about your current project. So the current project, whatever your project, this is the project which I have taken as a reference. Suppose if I am doing for NCAP, so NCAP is a national cardiac audit program. So here is a national health project to manage hospital patients and audit across the US or UK. So there we have a one portal that is that is based on this health management portal, where uh, we need to manage how what are the things need to be there, suppose if users will log in the page, then we'll have a registration page, patient page, and import and export data, audit page. So what all are the functionality in registration page, import export, like some data is there, so that how admin team is doing import and export. According to that they are analyzing the data in graphical ways, and how auditor team will take this, and how patient will take a registration for the particular doctors or particular any scan and all. So many functionality will be there, so how you are doing, so that type of things you have to discuss. Suppose if they will ask tell me about your current project, so whatever your project will be there, then you can discuss yeah, this is the project related for this work, and here are the technology stack which I am working, and uh, my role and responsibility for this project is doing this type of implementations which will be take the beneficial for the customers or maybe client and all. So that things you have to define as per your convenience. So this is the first questions which I ask from this current project. And the second, what are the modules you worked. Suppose if you have defined some health insurance project you are working, now there will be some module. So either you worked on backend module, front end module, or maybe database side. Or suppose in backend module, what are the things you worked? You have to call the REST API or maybe messaging queue or many other functionality which have either you have developed one microservices which will be create some milestones and all. So that type of questions they will ask as per your convenient answers you can tell, like so here we have a multiple project will be there, and or in a single project we have a multiple microservice, multiple tasks will be there, multiple milestone modules and all will be there. So they will ask what type of work you are doing, what are the tasks you have completed, what are the modules you finished, how many milestone you created in your particular project. So like that you can define your answers, and client, project things, milestone and all, module what is there, and task, work type and all. And suppose if you are using for agile, so that's agile, we have a agile we have a my agile where we'll have a Jira or any other tracking tool. There we can navigate all the tasks, what all are the components. So they will ask have you worked on this any methodology, like what type of methodology you worked, either you worked on agile or maybe others uh, work waterfall models and all. So how you are doing, so how we will do this one and all, that you can express. And then others will have a suppose if you are doing then how you will be check the budget estimation work and how do it work and all. So these things we have to design and tell if users ask. And then others questions will have a what is the role in this model. So suppose if you have less than experience, So mostly you need to develop some codes and all that. But suppose if you are higher experience in that cases, like a senior Java developer or senior developer in that, so you need to give a different understanding. I am doing this requirement from the client, and after that modifying this, creating this level design, either we have a low level or high level design, then developing the code, and then after that we are checking the say API services, and after that we need to do the some testing environment, so that we have to create a either JUnit, Mockito or Power Mock and all, and then we will do that. But if you have a less than experience of less than 3 years of experience, then directly you can give the answers. I got the chance to work on the service process layer in that involved JUnit, Mockito, Power Mock implementation, IOC and logging and all, and support for the testing. So depends on the experience. They will ask what type of module you worked, so you can give this brief idea about this, and have you are stuck anywhere, then how you resolve this issue, and how to guide these testings and all like that. So what are the things you seen in your project or worked on that you have to define. And then others questions as what all are the business logic you wrote. Either we have a multiple business logic will be there in this particular application, so what all are the business logic you wrote. Either we have a, so based on this your project, you can define the business logic. And then once you define this business logic here, like what all are the business logic you worked. Either you have mostly depends on the backend logic, where you need to do this implementation which have like a patient applications which will be doing that. Or maybe you have a, others management things which you have to communicate from one microservice to another microservices and all. So that logic, how you write and what are the requirement has been given by the customers or client, so how you define and how you develop, so like that you can define. And then after that they will ask like what type of how will you verify the authenticate user. Suppose if you have logged in your application, then either how you will verify this only authorized users can log in this page. Based on that, so we have a multiple authentication is there, like a Spring Boot, a Spring MVC, or sorry, in a Spring MVC, a Spring Boot we have a security, a Spring security you can enable, or either we have a Java Web Tokens or JWT and others. Many security things are there that we can be do. But for this page level, login page level side authentications, you can do through this authentications like authentication and authorization in Spring security. So that type of things they will ask, like depends on your project worked, whatever you have worked, that you can define there. And then what all are the service you wrote, so that we have already discussed. And after that, what is how to REST services are called, and where, how REST services will call. Have you used REST services? So mostly the project will based on this REST services, where we are doing this get, post, put, delete implementation and all. So either HTTP these things. So how you have written this code, and how from where to exposing and all. So mostly like we are calling some third party services and also. So while you are calling third party services, so for that you need to expose this either REST or any other web services things component you have to do. So the same way we have to do. And others, which presentation layer are you using and why? So we have multiple layers will be there in the application, as MVC pattern, like or presentation layer, and then backend layer, and then database layer. So presentation layer, it will have a mostly what type of presentation layer. Have you used any UI, and also which UI tools you used, Angular and others framework. So and backend we have a like Java with a Spring Boot microservices and all. And then for a repository layer, like mostly we will connect the database, Mongo, SQLs, Oracles and all. So like they will ask what type of things you use. But which persistent layer are you using for this? So you can tell on this proper data access layer. So mostly data access layer we are using by the Hibernate or maybe JPA and all. So depends on your requirement, you can discuss. And then what is the difference between Hibernate and JPA, JDBC and JPA also they will include. So what is Hibernate, when to use Hibernate, when to use JDBC, when to use JPA. So these all are the difference, depends on the requirement, your project and all. So you can whatever the project the ORM tools you are using for the project purpose and all, so you can discuss here. If you haven't used JDBC, then you can tell like I'm not aware about this JDBC. Mostly I work on this Hibernate and the JP and all. But JDBC will be the basic, so you have to know about this how JPA was worked, JDBC was worked. Then after that Hibernate and then JP. Then suppose if your project have considered AOP and all, so how you used AOP and where to use AOP. So AOP used for this aspect oriented programming, aspect of oriented programming. So mostly we'll have all like transaction management, logging, exception handling, security, and instrumentation. So in that cases we use the AOP like before, after, point cut and all that we can use. So where which layer you used and why you used and for what business purpose you use. So mostly we have these things where we can go for this AOP and all. So another questions they will ask, did you use transaction in your project? Yeah, mostly if you have database communications with the relational things where data informations or customer information need to be stored. In that cases, or maybe you have payment gateway transactions and all will be there. In that cases, we need a transaction which need to be taken care all the informations. So mostly enterprise application and other many applications will have a transactions logic also. We have a database things and all. So in that cases, how you are doing the transaction, how to manage the transaction, what are the way and where to have written the code. So this type of transactions related questions also they ask. And then more than one configurations file does Spring allow. So how you will write more than one configuration. Suppose we have multiple environment is there like and we need to separate different environment. Based on that our application will behave like that. Like we have a development environment, production environment, or maybe QA environment, based on that you need some different configurations. So either a Spring will allow for this more than one configuration and all. If yes, then how you will do this one. So that type of also questions will be taken care through the project round interview questions. So these all are the real interview questions where interviewer will ask related for your project. Suppose if you have qualified first round, second round, and if you are going for the project round, or maybe in second technical round also they will ask some of the project programmatical and project round interview questions. So that cases we will go for this all. And where you are mentioning multiple configurations, suppose if you are using two multiple configuration, then how you will use and where to add this. And then some of the questions they will also ask related for the web services. Suppose if you use any web services, so whatever your web services, either REST, SOAP, or any fin client or any others, then is a client service architectures where which among things level, like what are the HTTP protocols you used and how you implemented, and what is the difference between get, post, put, deletes and all, when to use this all. So like that they will ask. And then other questions, how you build your application. So suppose if you are doing from project, then you have some build application. So how you have build your what are the tools you are using to building your application. So build will create a jar file or maybe have a Docker image. So either jar file, war file, or Docker image, how you are doing. So which type of tools you are using. So that and that life cycles and all. Why do we use build tool or build automation? Either if you have a build tool, either Maven or maybe Maven or any others. So why we used and is what are the difference between build tool and build automations and all. So Gradle, Maven, and then Jenkins is for the CI/CD automations and all that we can use. And then can you tell me the deployment process, how you are doing your deployment process in your project. So once your project has been completed, what is the code base where you are putting the code, and how this will be committed the code in your master branch, what are the ways, how you are raising the request for this PR and all, how who is approving, and how this will be go for the different environment, and how that deployment process will come. So these all are the deployment process related. They will ask, depends on the different project and interview or company will have a different tools they are using. Mostly we have a Git, Jenkins, CI/CD and all. By using AWS we are using, but depends on your project convenience how you are doing that one. Then how many regions in your project, like how many regions, suppose if you have created any project in that there will be some region, so particular regions can be accessed either in the world or in the particular country, or maybe particular regions you have allowed. Because suppose if you'll see Ola, Uber and all functionality which will be taken care in this in India we have some of the state, not in all the states and all the states and all. So how they define the particular region, Ola facility will be there and Uber facility will be there, like that. So they will ask like what are all the region, how you define this region will be applicable, this is not applicable and all. And then how you install Tomcat Server, and what are the others than Tomcat Server. Suppose if you are deploying your application on any server, maybe some Tomcat Web or any AWS cloud services server, so how you are doing that one, and what are the ways are there, is there in the other apart from this Tomcat. So Tomcat will be the by default server while we are developing any application in a Spring Boot microservice based. But if you want, you can add other services also, other server also, like WebLogic and IBM Boss and Console and AWS and all. So JUnit, other questions they ask like JUnit comes under which testing, either unit testing or system testing. So how you define this unit testing, what is TDD and all, test driven design and all. So how you retain and who is doing the testing part, and how you are defining this will be applicable for testers and all, what are the functionality need to be checked and all. So these things they will ask. And what after that, what all are the development environment are there. So as we already discussed, we have a many development environment will be there. Before going production we have a local development, then QA, then we have a QA local development, then we have a UAT, SIT, then QA, and then pre-prod, and after that prod and all. So there will be different on the company requirement, client requirement, will have a multiple environment will be there that will be defined. Before moving production, user customer need to test your application or not. Suppose if you are doing some movement, some application development, and now you need to move this in production. So before that you need a user customer need to test this application or not, either its functionality is correct or not. So directly they are giving you to customer or users before production. So is that answer is correct or not? If not, then why and all they will ask. Then did you use any acceptance testing? So what is acceptance testing? So unit testing and acceptance testings and all will be there, and QA testings and all. So how you have done, or maybe how your testers has done, what are the things they have considered in acceptance testings and all. And then do you use any users acceptance testings? Yeah. And then after that what is a staging? There is a window or Linux server, who will deploy into a staging? Did you use Tomcat or Windows server? What is a staging, when to use a staging, what is Linux and Windows server, who will be deployed in a staging and all. So mostly right now is happening like DevOps tools will be there, or DevOps team will be there. We have a Jenkins CI/CD automated will be there. So they are doing automatic deployments and all based on this servers and all. Then other questions, how client will finally agreed for this project, which stage they are agreed. So that things will be based on the project, and how project is moving to the out stage, what is out stage, and how this project is moving and all. So that you can find it the proper answers in that. and what are the stage of the project, like we have target, experience, depth, and passion, and get things done, like that. We have a multiple stages will be there, so stage 1 2 3 4 5 6 and all. Then other questions like, are you using any annotation for rest? So what all are the annotations using for the rest? And then and like suppose if we have path at the rate, path at the rate, get at the rate, post, put, delete and all. So these all are the annotations which we are using for the rest while we are doing the development of rest. And then these all are the consumer producers. Suppose if you have any users type input or output, what are the request will be there, what are the response, so either XML, JSON and all. So we have a consumer producer annotations also there we can use. So what is the front end you used, which front end you used, either Angular or any others, so that you can discuss. And then Angular JS, how did you send the data? Suppose if you tell Angular, then how did you send the data from service, and what are the format, and what format you returning the data. So that type of questions also they will ask in Angular. Suppose if you are doing a full stack and all, so mostly they will consider all those things: backend, front end, DevOps, and then database layer. So these things they will ask in your and then yeah, so this all will be considered for the project round interview person. Some of the interviewers also they will consider in the technical interview. So once you are doing for the technical interview of round second or second round and all, in that cases they will ask some of the programmatical questions, project details, and this scenario based questions and all. So this is the things which I have discussed. Yeah, that's it from my side. If you want, you can go for my GitHub repository. There we are uploading all the interview questions things. I have mentioned the GitHub link in my description, in this video description video, so directly you can download it from there. And yeah, let me know if any next video which you want and what type of category is related. So please comment the same, so that I'll try to go through that and then I'll create that. Yeah, thank you for that.